Hey everyone, and welcome to this new speed build in The Sims 2, which is actually a first on the channel even though I wanted to make speed builds before. But every time I built a house in The Sims 2, either there was a problem with the footage or there was a problem with the house. And there is actually one footage that I still have of a house that I was really happy with. It was a Cape Cod inspired house. There were 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in that house. I even used the constrained floor elevation sheet in The Sims 2 to attach the garage to the house. It was just a very cool house. But for some reason I cannot install the house properly in my game. I'm using the Sims 2 Pax installer, which is actually a piece of software that you can install on your computer. You can find it on Mod The Sims, and I will try to make sure to leave a link to that page of Mod The Sims for you to download this software for you to install houses, custom content. It's a very cool software to manage everything that you're installing in your Sims 2 game. And it's also very useful when you want to install a package file, such as the house that I had built prior to this one, this Cape Cod house that I'm talking about. But when I decided to install that package file back into my game, because for some reason I couldn't find the house in my library, I don't know, I cannot find this house anywhere. But if you're interested, I can actually share the speed build with you. I can also try to share the package file and see if that works in your game. Maybe it's just a problem that I have with mine. Just let me know in the comments and I will make the speed build for this house. But today, the house that I'm building is actually for a series that I currently have going on my Twitch channel. And if you want to make sure to come on one of my streams, you can find the link to my Twitch account in the description. You can also find a link to my Twitter, to my Discord, and all other social medias that I am on. And this series is so much fun. There is so much drama going on in there, and I'm going to tell you their entire story, so get ready. We're playing with a young couple composed of Jonathan and Emilia, and these two, they met when they were in college. And they're kind of opposites attract, because Emilia, she has the fortune aspiration, and I also gave her the knowledge secondary aspiration, and pretty much she wants to be as successful as possible. She's very ambitious, and actually her lifetime want is to become a Hall of Famer. So in other words, she wants to reach the level 10 of the athletic career, and she was working really hard in college. And so, as you know, I didn't play with them when they were in college. I started playing with them as a young married couple who first moved into their apartment. And Jonathan, on his side, he went to college just because he's actually very social. He does have the pleasure aspiration, and he went to college just to have fun, to join a Greek house, to make friends. He was probably studying psychology or philosophy or something. He was not that serious, you know, he was just there to have fun. And he was this very popular guy who everyone wanted to be friends with or be with in general. And Jonathan, he saw Emilia, who actually a lot of people wanted to be with, but they were all very intimidated by her because she was crazy smart and she was really serious. And Jonathan, he took that as a challenge, and he started flirting with her, and then eventually he fell for her. And Emilia, she was just like, oh my god, this popular guy is interested in me, the nerd, oh my god. While Jonathan, he was like, I'm with that girl, the smart girl, and she decided to choose me, to be with me. And you know, because of that, they stayed together all throughout college, and then at the end of college, they decided to get married, and then they moved into their first apartment together, and this is when we actually started playing with them. So when they moved in, Jonathan wanted to become a game designer, which is pretty much reaching the level 10 of the gamer career. And as I said, Emilia wanted to go into the athletic career. And they both actually found their dream career on the second day in The Sims 2. That's actually quite surprising, because if you don't know, in The Sims 2, you need to go onto the computer or use the newspaper to find a career or a job. And depending on your Sims lifetime want, sometimes they want to join a particular career. And it can take a while sometimes to come across your dream career, and for them it only took a couple days, which was really surprising. And the two of them, they to celebrate the fact that they finally moved in together, they decided to go to a nightclub, they went on dates, they just had a very good time together. But as I said, they're actually completely different. Emilia, she takes life very seriously, while Jonathan, he doesn't take anything seriously. So his relationship with Emilia, he takes it for granted, and he one day decided to go out on his own. He went to a nightclub and he came across a young woman named Marielle, and he was actually really attracted to her, and they decided to go on a date together. And so he went on that date, it went really well, he came back home as if nothing had happened, and he went to bed and everything was fine, and the next day he went to work, as well as Emilia. When Emilia went to work, we actually had one of those chance cards that sometimes happen in The Sims 2 and 4, and I think also in The Sims 3, but I'm not so sure. Anyway, we had a chance cards, and we had to choose one of two scenarios. And I chose the bad one, and she actually got fired from her dream career, which was a very, very bad thing for her. Emilia, she's just very unlucky, and so she came back home, she was devastated, and when she came to the front door of their apartment, she saw a bouquet. So she looked at the bouquet, she saw there was a little note on it, and so she read the note, and she saw that it was from Marielle to Jonathan, and she was even more devastated, so she decided to go out. She went out to try to make some friends because she had no friends other than Jonathan. While Jonathan, he already had a few other female friends that he was thinking going on dates with. And so Emilia, she went out while Jonathan was at work, just thinking about the fact that she had lost her job, that she just realized that her boyfriend, or actually not boyfriend, husband, was actually cheating on her with the other women. She didn't even know how far they went. Jonathan, he actually didn't sleep yet with Marielle, he just went on a date with her. And so she went out and she came across the matchmaking lady from whom you can actually buy a love potion. And Emilia, at that point, she was actually very, very sad. Actually, her aspiration meter was in the red, which in The Sims 2 is really, really bad. Your Sims can actually lose their minds when their aspiration bar is really low. And so Emilia, she was very, very in a very bad place. And so she saw this matchmaker lady and decided to buy the love potion from her to try and seduce again Jonathan. But she wasn't so sure yet, so she just came across that matchmaking lady. She knew she had this option, and then she came back home and she pretended as if nothing had happened, as if she didn't see the bouquet, as if nothing had happened. She wanted to see what Jonathan would do with that bouquet. And so when Jonathan came back home, he saw the bouquet, he took it with him, and he didn't know that Emilia had read the note. And so things went on. Emilia found another career, she went into the dancer career, and later on, a couple days later, I think, Jonathan went out again while Emilia was at work to go on a date with another woman. I think her name was Diane. And they went to a restaurant, and over there he came across a bunch of cheerleaders, or at least this is how I was calling them because they were all wearing the same dress. And they seemed kind of sporty, and they all had pigtails. It was just very funny because they were running after him, literally. There were like 3 cheerleaders plus the date that he was with, Diane. And they were just all running after him, trying to take pictures with him in the photo booth. It was just completely crazy. And when he came back home, everything was fine. He once again pretended as if nothing had happened. And later that night, Diane left a bouquet by the front door at the same time as Emilia came back home. And Emilia saw the bouquet, she read the note, and she saw that it was that woman that just ran away when Emilia arrived. And she decided, Emilia, that time to take the bouquet with her to hide the fact that Diane had actually a good time with Jonathan, as if it actually mattered to Jonathan, because Jonathan, he just wanted to have fun once again. So she kept the bouquet with her, and Emilia at that time decided to act upon these new discoveries of her love life. You know, like she realized that her husband was apparently not happy with her to the point that he went on dates with other women. So she decided to come up with kind of a not really an evil plan, but a plan to reconquer the man that she loves. So she decided to call the matchmaker lady, buy a love potion from her, and she also wanted to go on a vacation to the Far East, I think it's Takamitsu village. And she booked a vacation, she called the matchmaking lady, she bought the love potion, and then with Jonathan they went on a vacation. As soon as they arrived, Emilia decided to drink the love potion, and she seduced Jonathan again, and she thought, with this love potion, he's going to love me again, and he's not going to cheat on me with anybody else. And they went and they woohooed together, and that ended up in a pregnancy. But of course, at the time, they didn't know. In The Sims 2 and in The Sims 3, you actually have a little music that plays when you're trying for a baby. And that's what happened between Emilia and Jonathan. So we heard the little music. But of course, I decided to pretend that they didn't know that they tried for a baby. It was an accident. It was definitely not a good time for Emilia to become a mother, and Jonathan, of course, he was just not ready to become a father as well. He was not even ready to be in a steady relationship or a serious relationship at all. But they spent 3 days in Takemitsu village, and everything was pretty well, you know, even though Emilia felt sick. And she was just really not good. And at some point, actually, she went to a well to make a wish. And when she threw the coin, she actually had a curse, and she was scratching almost all throughout the vacation. While Jonathan, he was just going out, making friends, talking to people, and just enjoying his time. And then when they came back home, Jonathan was behaving very, very differently. Like, he seemed very sad, he was sleeping a lot, and he was just waiting to go on another date with another woman, and that's when he realized that the routine he was in was just not for him. Emilia, on the other side, she thought that everything was going well, even though she saw that Jonathan was a little bit different. She just didn't want to believe that her relationship with him just was not working out, especially after when she discovered that she was pregnant with him. And when she told him that she was pregnant, Jonathan just freaked out, and they had an argument. And he decided to go out, and he went out, I think, with Diane again, or no, I think he went out with, I don't remember, he went on a few different dates. I think he already went on 5 dates with, first dates with 5 different women, which was just completely crazy. But anyway, he went out on a date either with Diane or with one of the cheerleaders, or I think it was with the cheerleaders. I think her name is Linda. Oh yes, that's Linda, because she's actually his boss's cousin, which makes Jonathan in a very, very bad situation again. But you know, he was very lucky thus far, so now his karma is getting back to him, if that makes sense. So he went on a date with her. They went to a nightclub with some hot tubs, and he woohooed with Linda. And a couple women were actually walking in the nude just in front of Jonathan. It's just completely crazy. The ladies are just going insane around Jonathan. That's so strange. And so when he came back home, Linda actually followed him home, and when he came into the apartment, Linda was with him, and she decided to kiss him as Emilia was walking out of the bedroom, and she saw Jonathan kissing Linda, and that was just too much for Emilia, and she decided to just divorce him. They had a huge argument, and that's when she realized that Jonathan was just not ready to be in a serious relationship, especially becoming a father. He was just not ready for everything. So she decided to divorce him, and Jonathan moved out. And that's how, or actually that's why, I decided to build this house for Emilia, because the apartment they were living in was of only 1 bedroom. They had a living room, a dining area, actually a dining room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. There were no room whatsoever for a baby. And so I decided to build this house, which is actually the house on the left, with 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and an entire living area space for an office area, for the baby to move around, for Emilia to be able to work on her work. And I decided to furnish it quite sparsely and using as cheap furniture as possible, so that I'm sure that Emilia will be able to afford it, because as I said, she's very unlucky, this poor woman. She's just very, very unlucky, but she decided to take her life in her hands. She's taking control back of her life, you know, if that makes sense, and she's going to become a mother, and for some reason that actually encourages her into becoming a very successful woman, even more than she was ambitious before, if that makes sense. That was just not English at all, but you know what I mean. And so I decided to build this house for her because she needs a new start, and she just didn't feel like staying in this apartment where she lived with Jonathan. Now, as for Jonathan, I'm going to move him into another apartment, which is just going to be a Maxis apartment, or maybe something that's already placed in Belladonna Cove, because by the way, they're living in Belladonna Cove, which was the world that came with apartment life. And I'm also, as you may have seen, I'm building another house on the right, which is not going to be a house where Emilia is going to live. I just wanted for the 2 houses to be technically apartments, because I didn't feel like Emilia was ready to afford a house right away. Even though technically in The Sims you can afford a house right away, I just wanted to play in a more realistic way, and I wanted for Emilia to have a landlord that she needs to pay rent to, and I don't know, it just made sense for me. And also it makes for a house a bit more it makes the house a bit more lively, if that makes sense, because you have some neighbors. And I'm also thinking maybe creating a family to move in there, because this house, which looks actually like the house that I had built previously, which for some reason does not work. I don't know why, but it looks kind of a Cape Cod type of house. And so we're going to have some neighbors, and I'm thinking that Emilia can actually become friends with them, and since they're going to be a family, maybe their children can become friends as well. And I'm just really excited for Emilia to move in this house, and I'm pretty sure that she's going to be able to afford it. And also, this place is way brighter than the place that we're living in before. Even though the place that we're living in before was really nicely furnished, it was really dark with the color scheme, with the wallpapers, the floors, everything was really dark, and here it's really bright, and I think this is what Emilia needs. And she's going to be living on her own with her baby, and we'll see what will happen next in her life, and hopefully she'll be able to go back into the athletic career and make her dream come true of becoming a Hall of Famer. While Jonathan, he's just going to go and live on his own, and I'm thinking for him, having him take a roommate or something, and we'll see what will happen with Linda, with Diane, with Marielle, and all the others. I'm really curious to see what will happen, so if you're curious as well, make sure to tune in during one of my streams. I usually update you guys on here, on Twitter, and on my Discord on whenever I go live. Usually it's Paris time, it's at 4 p.m, 4:30 p.m, it depends on how late I am. But if you're interested, please make sure to come in. I'd love to welcome you into one of my streams. And you will find a link in the description for you to download this house. I've used a cheat to turn it into an apartment. I leave some information in the comments, not in the comments, in the description, for you to use the cheat if you want to also build an apartment in The Sims 2. You need to use a cheat to turn a residential lot into an apartment lot. And this is what I did. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching this speed build. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like what you saw being built here. Let me know in the comments what you think, and make sure to tune in one of my next streams. Either The Sims 2, or maybe The Sims 3, or The Sims 4, or whatever I'm streaming. I really hope to see you on my Twitch. But yay, thank you so much guys, and I will talk to you in my next video.